What a gem, look at this. This is from the not too far away from me. That was a mess. This is from the fairly local little model shop. Actually, as it transpires, that's incorrect. It's off eBay. And they do pick up some very good second-hand models. But it is true, they do pick up some very good second-hand models. Let's just take in the box and the artwork. Sadly it's not the red one, but this is nice and old. Look, oh, the Hawker Hunter's just fantastic. Fantastic aircraft, fabulous model as far as I remember. My dad made it for me when I was extremely tiny because he liked making these and he likes jets. Oh, hang on. Fairy swordfish. That's one we haven't done. Mind you, it's a double winger. I'm trying to move away from them, aren't I? So, get the lid off. Let's savour this. All the stuff all just bundled in. It was, the bag has got... Oh, actually, I don't remember they came in bags, so very nicely somebody's put it in a bag. How old are those instructions? I'm really going to have to try and do this one quite well, aren't I? Or at least to the standard, so to speak. And some nice transfers. And guess what? I think I'm going to have this on with the wheels down. Actually, I'm not going to do it with the wheels down because this is the one from eBay and it was advertised as having some parts missing. And ironically and typically, it's the wheels. So I reckon from this point we're probably going to be able to get on with the model. But we'll see, won't we? I think this will look good. Sort of sitting there, it's such a particular shape. A couple of little wheels aren't going to make a lot of difference. So, paint time. And just worth showing at this point, this is the fabulous Duck Egg Blue, which I used to really enjoy as a kid. It's very subtle. I don't think it's the one that's really recommended for the undersided German planes, but I'm going to give it a go just to see how it comes out. I'm no expert, but now I'm wondering, did these green boxes come before the red ones? Because look, there's that loop for hanging the thing up. That's the other side of the loop. These were used to hang the thing up on display, which is really old. So does green come before red? Any experts out there? So here's all the bits sprayed green and some bits sprayed brown and some bits sprayed black, plus the glassware, which I'll admit now I'm not going to paint. I'll come back to that when I've had a bit of practice. The propeller broke just in the box. I guess it's just very old, isn't it? Sometimes it takes me a while to cotton on to what's going on. Here's the instructions, and the person who sold it went through the instructions and crossed out the missing parts. Oh, right, okay. So, I see. There you can see the pilot's seat and that kind of floor. And there's part of the wheel construction. I guess actually the wheels are there. It'd be easy enough to do without those two. I can probably cobble something together out of a couple of sheets of plastic or something. So, a little bit of a challenge now. Here's the first three bits put together. Two sides of what is could be a fuselage, but it has a different name and I can't remember it. And the underside, which isn't quite a wing. There they are, sitting with the two booms, and you can see, I mean, good colour coding there by accident where the spraying hasn't gone well. But you can see the tab and or the tabs plural, and the slots where the three of them go together. And there's the fabulous hand again. Got clean-ish fingers for a change. And there they are, all pushed together gently. No glue yet. And then I thought that was a good idea, sort of showing off, and it all fell apart, didn't it? Then you can see the slot where the tail goes in. It's exciting stuff. It's fair to say things move on fairly swiftly with this one. This is a classic, straightforward Airfix kit. There's the interior. Oh, and there's a wing on. But you can see the interior's quite steps, and it's going to have a gap, unfortunately, right there at the front. But here go the wings, bit by bit. Oh, and you can see they're on. They're not glued. They're just hanging on for show. And you can see the white bits there are what I've put in to cover the gaps and give a bit of a meaningful interior. In fact, the interior of this could be really interesting. I am going to leave it because I'm not mucking around, but I think either I'll have to come back to one of these, get another one. There you can see it's made out of margarine pot, as is a cover for the wheels. Anyway, interior, yeah, either I'm going to have to get another one of these and try and come up with the interior, or I believe there's a good 1/48th scale one of these, so who knows. Anyway, colours coming along. That's a first coat for the pale green. Probably need a bit of smartening up. Well, it will need a bit of smartening up, but might need a whole second coat. It's a bit grotty on the top of the cockpit. Bit of glue was needed to sort of pull it together. It kept wanting to spring apart, so that's a bit messy. Smarten that up. But all in all, it's starting to look like the aircraft now, and I think it's a brilliant shape. A really interesting, dramatic creature, this. So next we have the figures. Painted them up. I always like that lying down guy. He had a bit of character. Really nice. And I suspect they're going to be quite visible through all that glass, so I put a little bit of detail into them, and then there they are sitting, you know, reasonably where they should be, given the interior's got some bits missing. I'm a bit worried about the bloke at the front, the pilot. He might be sitting too far forward. We'll see how that goes. Well, he fitted okay. Oh, I moved him back, that's right. Moved him back a little. You can see a lot in there. I will paint the glass eventually, but I'm going to have to go and do some practice, and I'm going to have to work on a few at the same time and clean them up with the toothpick idea. Anyway, there's the lying down machine gunner. It's at this point I realised that his machine gun's broken, so I'll have to find one somewhere in my box of bits. There's his canopy gone on, reasonable fit, a little bit out here and there, particularly at the left hand side. And then it's got this interesting characteristic that it tapers beautifully to a point, and it appears that it kind of swung. There you go, there's it closed on the nearest us now, on the left now, and there it is open. So it must have sort of rotated within itself. There's, oh, and there's the broken machine gun. The end came off. The end obviously is the important bit visually, but anyway, we'll sort that out. And there's the canopy on, which it gives it a waspy quality, doesn't it? So really quite amazing airplane. And it's moving on. We've got the markings on. I'm going to try and avoid weathering it. I just got to straighten up a few lines paint wise, but yes, it's okay. At this point I can safely say thoroughly enjoyed this model. This really is a classic Airfix in their sort of heyday, and it's nice that it's not too well known an aircraft. There's some a little bit blurry, but oh yeah, there you go, you can see the characters in there. Yeah, it's not too well known, so there's a bit of excitement about it. And there's our little tail gunner just showing through. So we're pretty much there. Still got to find the tail gun and just tidy up a couple of bits and pieces, but yep, we are pretty much done. Well, I'm attracted by this aircraft's really unusual design. It really grips me, I have to say, and it's very interesting because I know it's not one of the highly rated aircraft. It's not exactly Spitfire or Messerschmitt, but it seems to have been kind of liked. I had a quick look in the instructions and a couple of little books. It was, I think it first flew in 1938, didn't enter service with the German Army until 1940, and then was largely used on the Eastern Front, but then an awful lot of stuff was, which in which it sort of really did well. And apparently, although it wasn't very fast, it was incredibly manoeuvrable, and it could really do a tight turn, which could really fox some of the fighters that were up against it. I would have been very shaken seeing one of these things flying overhead if I was in the opposition. If this aircraft were on my side, I would be very impressed with that flying over low. It's a really interesting looking aircraft. I enjoyed this model. I'm going to look out for another one, possibly a 1/48th.